Welcome to the Defining Moments Black Men series of the Authentic Joe Show. I'm your host, Jolena Johnson, and it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome Mr. David Gorden. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How's it going?
Good, thank you. I see your St. Louis hat. So, can you tell us a little about your occupation and your background?
Yes. David Gordon. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, uh, and basically born and raised here. My occupation: I am a cartoonist, a writer, a content creator, and I run a small creative studio here in St. Louis.
Interesting. Okay, have you were you one of those young men that when you were little you would doodle? Is that how you started drawing cartoons?
Yeah, yeah. I used to. I always like to tell stories, and I tell people this all the time. I like to tell stories, and I always like to draw. So it just started merging as I got older and older and older. So I used to draw when I was a kid. I used to write stories, and it just all kind of came together.
That's wonderful. Okay, how would you describe yourself?
Um, I would describe myself. Uh, I'm just basically an artist. I'm a little bit introverted, so but because of the job, I have to sometimes I'm extroverted by default. But I like to just kind of stay in the studio, keep my nose to the grindstone, hardworking, dedicated, and always thinking and imagining, and just coming up with always coming up with new thoughts and new thought processes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hmm.
If you had to pick a phrase that would be a theme for your life, what would that be?
Unusual.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard that one. Can you clarify?
Yeah, just the path that I'm on. It's just not the usual path. Like most people go to school, pick a pick a, a job or a career and go down a career path. And I've just kind of walked this unusual path where I didn't go to school all the time, or I was always trying to do different things, and I just end up in the most unusual places because of just my choices as far as my career.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay. Well, a lot of times people will wonder, well, what is a defining moment? So I'm going to tell you. A
Mhm.
defining moment is a point in life when a pivotal decision must be made or when an experience fundamentally changes a person. What defining moment would you be willing to share with us today?
Oh, that's an easy one. In 2016, I was working for a local comic book company, and we were producing comics both digitally, and we were switching over to publishing in print. New president came in, regime changed, and I was downsized. From full time to part time,
Mhm.
and that was a very jarring situation. Um, but what it did was it made me really start to think about what I really wanted to do with my life, the things I wanted to do. And it came to that moment where I decided I had a script written for this character I had called Kwame Hightower. And, just kind of through that whole depressing malaise of being downsized and having to figure out, well, let me freelance, let me do this, let me do that. I just decided I was going to write and draw this book, or rewrite and draw the book. So I spent the entire year of 2017 creating this graphic novel. Put it out in 2018. It's called Kwame Hightower, The Man with No Name. And basically, it was from there that everything changed. The book's out, getting publicity, um, showing up on television, going to different conventions and shows, and honestly having my own product. It just freed me up to do so many more things. And from there, I was able to launch the studio, kind of develop the studio vision. All of that came from that moment when, I was downsized and 45 years old, trying to figure out what am I going to do. Just kind of looking at everything and wow, I got to make some decisions, some hard decisions,
Mhm.
and I was able to do it.
Well, thank you for that, and I'm glad that you were able to admit it was depressing, and it was definitely a defining moment. And I'm so glad that you rose to the occasion. Oftentimes it takes some type of trauma for us to make a choice and a change.
Hmm.
And I'm glad
Yeah.
you came out on the other side. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, and it was like I said, it I felt blindsided.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you feel a certain way, but you just have to kind of, pick up the pieces and you gotta figure out what you're gonna do. And I could have walked away, I could have quit, but I decided to no, I'm just gonna finally just um roll the dice all I'm going to go all in on myself and bet on myself, which is something I hadn't really done before.
Hmm. And so in those moments, I guess when you were writing, did it give you moments of clarity to say, I can do this?
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely gave me a lot of moments of clarity.
Mhm.
The and really taking the whole year. When I say take the whole year off, it means basically I will go to my job, come back to the house, and write or draw. Wouldn't
Mhm.
go nowhere. Then wasn't out in the streets. Nothing. Just every day, 365. Stay concentrated on the task at hand, and it took me a whole year to get that done.
Gotcha. Okay. Can you tell us just, I mean, we have a little time here. So,
Mhm.
Kwame Hightower, what is his deal? What's his story or his background, or what does he do?
Oh, so with Kwame Hightower, you got the story of a 12-year-old boy that's living in London, England. He's from St. Louis, Missouri. He's in London. Mom moved there for because she got the job at a nice college, and he hates it. And so, through the convolution of storytelling, we make him the king of England by having him pull the sword Excalibur from the stone, and then we just send him on this wild adventure. So it's this wild, it's this fun, adventurous, action packed tale for the family, and it's black characters, and it's just a lot of fun action, science fiction, adventure. So
That sounds fantastic. Would you please send me that information so I can put it in a link here to this video? Because is it still available in print?
oh yeah, it's available. It's available right now.
Okay.
It's on Amazon, and then I have a supplemental story. It's Kwame Hightower and the New Knights. So that's where he gets his own set of knights.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. I love those type of movies. You know, I think we underestimate people. I think we're around the same age because you said at 45 this happened. So
Hmm.
when we were growing up, I remember watching the Jetsons
Hmm.
and saying, boy, what if I could talk to somebody on the television and see them?
And now here we are.
Yes. What if I could talk on the phone and they're right there? And I know we don't have flying cars yet, but that cartoon was so interesting. And it is amazing how we find ourselves through the creative arts. And I think it's really wonderful that you've shared your story. And just to imagine a black boy who becomes the king of England. I mean, I'm intrigued, and I can't wait. So I need to get a copy of that so I can read it myself. And I think it dares people to dream.
It does.
I remember growing up, and one of my favorite shows of all times was the Love Boat.
Yeah.
And they went, and I felt like I needed to be Julie the cruise director. That needed to be my role because I want to go places. I want to help people. I don't even know what did she really do. She really didn't. They didn't show her working, but she was always there. She had a smiling face. She was cordial. She helped people to feel excited and happy, and she helped her male coworkers get through things. And
Hmm.
we got to see different places around the world because the Love Boat went to those places. And I remember the Brady Bunch when they went to Hawaii.
Yeah, the famous Hawaii episode, the
Yes,
the tiki curse.
exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
I know exactly. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
young people
those
watching, they'll be
episodes.
like, "What are you talking about?" But you know what I'm saying.
Well,
And
it's funny because I have a adult coloring book. It's called Black Love Chronicles, and it's basically just a series of old. It's set up like old romance comic book covers,
okay.
but obviously with it's a modern twist with black characters on, and you kind of read through and you kind of see it's nothing but angst and drama and all that all that good stuff that makes for great romance.
I'm a fan already. I can't wait. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so we know what led to your defining moment, and we know
Hmm.
what you began to do, which was to focus. You made a decision and you said, I'm going to focus and I'm going to bet on me.
Hmm.
Can you give us three pieces of advice that you would give to a man, especially maybe a younger man,
Hmm.
if he finds himself in a situation where maybe he's lost his job or he's ready to be discouraged? He may not be a writer or an artist, but what are three things you would tell him to start doing or stop doing?
Um, I would tell them to find out what you love.
Okay.
Play to your strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses,
Okay.
and focus on becoming the best version of you that you can be. So if you are a drummer, become the best drummer that you can be. If you're a carpenter, become the best carpenter. And those are the things that are going to take you to the top.
That's fantastic. Oh my goodness. Okay. If you had to go back and think about yourself, is there anything you would do differently as a result of your journey
Oh,
that
good lord. You know what? No, because I think I needed to learn. I was a very hard headed person when I was younger. So
Mm,
I think I needed to run into these walls to learn. So now that I know, I'm able to navigate the world a lot better. But if I didn't run into the walls that I ran into, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at or where I needed to be.
that's wonderful. Okay, so something else, like you said, be the best drummer, be the best artist, be the best that you can be. But it is very difficult to find your way as a creative person and
Mhm.
actually make it a business and actually be able to live off of
Mhm.
being creative. So, do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about going into the creative arts as an actual career on, how to survive or how to thrive in that?
Yes, learn and understand how to run a business. Whether it's take courses online or courses at the local community college. You don't have to become, have be a Rockefeller or anything like that, but just have a cursory understanding so that you can navigate the highs and the lows of this industry. We are a part of the entertainment industry, so
Mhm.
it's it has seasons. um, and
Yes.
you have to understand when to take advantage of the seasons and when you're going to have to, okay, well, I got to spread some things out, and
Mhm.
also learn how to create your own product. um,
Mhm.
you know it could be, putting your art on t-shirts, selling prints, selling posters, canvases. You know, a big part of my business is not just the books, but it's also selling art off of my website. It's also selling like um, multi-purpose art for T-shirts, and these T-shirts and coffee mugs. All of those are available. That's an income stream. So you have to be able to understand how to create product for yourself.
Mhm.
And if you're kind of like me, you have to understand how to create your own intellectual property and how to put it out. You have YouTube, you have print, you have the web. So you have so many options.
Mhm.
Um, you know, even using things like a Kickstarter to your advantage. So you
Mhm.
have all these things. There are options that you can use. So you just have to be aware of them and be ready to use them. But understanding business is the most important thing. You have to understand how to conduct yourself as a business, build yourself as a brand, and move forward in that regard.
That's great advice. I've been an entrepreneur for over 22 years. And
Mhm.
I tell you, when you say it's cyclical, you got to learn how to hold on to those coins because you get that big check. And then it might take you a couple more months or so to get another check. So you got to make it last. And I think it's easy to say, oh, this is so amazing, and want to go and shop on Amazon or
Mhm.
buy the latest and the greatest, and then you find yourself struggling. So I think money management and, like you said, learning how to be in business is so important.
Yeah, it is. It's needed.
Mhm. Okay. Well, David, this has been certainly inspiring, and I can't wait to explore your website and see your offerings because I'm excited about all of them. And I would like to know, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Um, uh, just I had a blast talking with you, and yeah, I was kind of just reliving some of those moments, and just I was like just thinking to myself, dang, I really came a long way.
You have. And thank you for inspiring more generations to explore fantasy, to explore the world, to see themselves differently, to know that they matter and they are appreciated. And
Mm,
that took you willing to do those same things. So I just want to commend you for that and say thank you because, as I mentioned to you prior to the interview, these or those works here are my mom is an artist and I grew up in a home and art was just naturally a part of my life. That's what she did for a living. And I just kind of took it for granted. And that one in the red and white there, that's just me
mm,
and wine and painting. It's not like those other ones. But my mom had a vision for me as well. And that one in the green, that was
mm.
called Jolena Reeds. And
Oh wow.
yeah. And so when I was little, I would go, you're from St. Louis. So I would go to Central Hardware
Hmm.
in Central City
Oh
with
wow.
my dad. And it would be so boring in the hardware store that I would look at all the little Reader's Digest and whatever was on the, when you're standing in the checkout line, the horoscopes,
Hmm.
whatever it was, and I would just read any books I could because I just love reading. And I would just try to hang out. And of course, he wouldn't really let me get out of his sight, but as much as I could get anytime I was in a line, I love doing that. And so I think
Yeah.
that it is important that hopefully our parents have a vision for us, but if they don't, we have to have a vision for ourselves and we have to pass it through. And your writing and your creativity, your cartoons and things, I've seen a few samples of them and I just think they're fantastic. So please just keep on keeping on because we need you.
Thank you. I plan to.
You're welcome. And I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Well, you take good care.
All righty. You too.
Thank you.